Unmuted.
The meeting of the City of Socorro Planning and Zoning Commission is set to begin. First and foremost, the City of Socorro would like to thank everyone and ask for your patience during this difficult time we have been presented with. Everyone, please remember to silence any electronics to avoid sound interruption. No disruptive behavior or outbursts will be tolerated, and violators are subject to disconnection and possible prosecution. In accordance with Section 418.016 of the Texas Government Code and by order of the Office of the Governor issued March 16, 2020, the Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Socorro will be broadcasted. I'm sorry. In accordance with the section of 418.016 of the Texas Government Code and by order of the Office of the Governor issued March 16, 2020, the Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Socorro will broadcast the meeting scheduled today, Tuesday, May 5th, 2020 at 5:30 from City Hall chambers located at 860 Rio Vista Road, Socorro, Texas, via telephone conference and live stream in order to advance the public health goal and practice social distancing to slow the spread of the coronavirus COVID-19. The public that signed up and any presenters will be called upon by the presiding officer during the meeting to speak during the public comment or their agenda item during the meeting following Government Code 551.042. La reunión de la Comisión de Planificación y Zonificación de la Ciudad de Socorro está por comenzar. Primeramente queremos darle las gracias y pedimos su paciencia durante este momento crítico que enfrentamos. Favor de poner en silencio todo equipo electrónico para evitar interrupción de sonido. No se va a tolerar ningún tipo de comportamiento perjudicial o revoltoso. A quien no siga estas reglas, su llamada será desconectada y puede ser infraccionado. De acuerdo con sección 418.016 del Código del Gobierno de Texas y por orden de la Oficina del Gobernador, anunciada el 16 de marzo de 2020, la Comisión de Planificación y Zonificación de la Ciudad de Socorro transmitirá su reunión hoy, 5 de mayo de 2020 a las 5:30 p.m. desde la sala del concilio localizada en 860 Rio Vista Road, Socorro, Texas, por medio de teléfono y será transmitida en vivo para tomar medidas preventivas para prevenir la propagación de la enfermedad del virus corona COVID-19 y a los demás y por la seguridad del público. El público y los presentadores serán anunciados por el oficial conduciendo la reunión para poder hablar durante la sección de comentario público o después de la discusión del artículo de la agenda por cual se apuntaron siguiendo las reglas del gobierno 551.042.
Mr. Lopez, go ahead. You can call the meeting to order.
Okay, so I guess you'll have to help me out since I missed the first two meetings. Anyway, so this is a Planning and Zoning Commission, and I call this meeting to order at 5:35 p.m.
Yes, sir. Item number 2, notice to the public. This is open forum. This is basically anytime a constituent would like to speak on anything other than what's on the agenda. I do have a lady that signed up. Her name is Margarita Perez. Are you on the line, ma'am?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay, go ahead. You have 3 minutes, ma'am.
My name's Margarita Perez. I live at 10949 Mesa Drain Road. The reason for my call is that because of the properties that are next door to me and behind me, and they have not been taken care of for quite a few years, these properties are vacant. These properties are 10930 East Birch and 10974 East Birch. On these properties, there's overgrown weeds that have been there for quite a while. It has come to a point where now my home has become infested with small moths and gnats that I believe come from these properties because of the condition that the land is at. These have not been taken care of for quite a long time. They're dried weeds and they're also a fire hazard. My husband has been having to clean 5 feet into their property to touching our fence line so the problems don't come into our property. But that hasn't helped. I've sent pictures to the planning department and to Ms. Mayela. And so you can share them so the proper people can know what I'm going through. I would like to get the code enforcer to come out here and see what I'm talking about. And I know that you, according to the ordinances, you have to inform the owners, but that's going to take 30 days. And if they don't comply, you send them a second notice, which is another 30 days. And so what happens to us? You know? But I'm hoping you can also send vector control to come out and spray so that infestation can, be controlled. Hoping that you have the pictures and you see what I'm talking about, or let the code enforcers know. And Ms. Mayala has my phone number, so if they'd like to reach me. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else that would like to speak on anything that's what on the agenda? Nobody else signed up. Item number 4. This is a regular agenda for discussion and action. I'm sorry, I skipped item number 3, consent agenda.
There's no attached agenda.
I didn't see a consent. I didn't see any. You're right. The previous meeting notes. I didn't see any of that.
No, it's not on this agenda.
I don't
All right.
see them either.
Joe, were they not included?
No. Okay.
No.
Okay.
Okay, well, I do apologize for that. If you guys want to make a motion to go ahead and delete this item, and I'll include them in the next agenda.
Okay. Well, I make a motion to delete this item, to delete the consent agenda and include it in the next meeting.
I second.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. Who made the first motion?
I did, Daniel.
Mr. Lopez. Okay, to approve, and it was seconded by who?
David.
Okay, I have a motion made by Mr. Daniel Lopez to delete the item and include it in the next agenda, and seconded by Mr. David Estrada. Mr. David Estrada,
Yes.
Mr. Arturo Lafuente,
Yes.
Mr. Daniel Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Enrique Cisneros. He's muted. Mr. Enrique Cisneros.
I'm sorry, my internet cut out a little bit. Is this for the acceptance of last meeting's minutes?
Yes, sir. Unfortunately, it wasn't added on, so they made a motion to delete it and include it in the next agenda.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Alrighty. Motion carried with 4 commissioners present. Item number 4A. This is the regular agenda for discussion and action. 4A is a plat approval for consider and take action on the plat approval for Carrasco subdivision, being a portion of track 14B and track 2A, block 1, Socorro Grant, located at 725 Anderson Road.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. This is Job with Planning and Zoning. This is a lot split. The owner of a tract of land, tract 2A and 14B in block 1, Socorro Grant, is trying to split the property. I'm gonna show you the location of the property. This property is about 950 feet away from North Loop. This is along Anderson Road. And it has a total area of 6.07 acres. The owner of the land is trying to split the property in two. This is how he wants to split the land. Lot 1 will have 220,857 square feet. That's about 5.07 acres, which would be this area on the right. He's currently building a house, and everything else is vacant land. Lot 2, this little area right here on the left, is gonna be 43,560 square feet. That's about 1 acre. According to the flood insurance rate maps, this property is in Zone X. The purpose of splitting the property is because the owner is thinking about maybe giving this land to one of his sons in the future. There's no right-of-way required. Here's the final plat. It's just turned around, but it's the same property. They are dedicating some right-of-way along Anderson Road to smooth out the curve. Planning and Zoning Department recommends approval. Do you have any questions?
Is that out of the city of Socorro limits?
Yes, sir. It's abutting the city limit. I don't know. Can you see are you able to see the
Yes.
plat on the screen?
Mm-hmm.
So it's right on the city limit along Anderson. Anderson Road is the one you see on the screen. And it's this property. Still remains agricultural land for most of it.
Yeah.
This isn't, it's just a lot split. It's gonna stay agricultural, right? The 5 acre lot and the 1 acre lot.
Yes, that is correct, except for this little area right here. And of course, it's not accurate. He's gonna build a house in this area.
Mhm.
This is where he's gonna build his house. And then in the future, he wants to sell this or give this away to one of his children.
Does the city of Socorro doesn't have plans to make that street like a wider or main or some important street to go up to the north
No, sir,
East
the
side.
city doesn't have, no, sir, the city doesn't have any plans for Anderson Road. But let me show you. This is the final plat. As you can see, the owner of the land is already dedicating enough right of way to complete the 60 feet required for a residential street in case of any future improvement, but there's no plans for this road at the moment.
Mm. So in the Socorro master plan, there's no a wide street close to the limits of Socorro.
No, sir.
Like, okay.
Where is that easement? There's an easement in the, over on the, I guess, south of the, or west of the property. Where's that easement on the map?
So there is a perpetual easement on the left. What you see here, it looks like a dirt road. This is a perpetual easement to allow access for the properties in the back.
Is that
And-
a canal on the west of that property? Where it's green?
It's a drain. This is actually a drain.
No, on the west side of the property.
This one or this one?
Right. No, so on the property, you know, I know it's not totally accurate, but on the yellow line, on the west side of the property, it shows like some green vegetation or something running up and down that line. Is that a canal?
I was there earlier and I didn't see any canals.
Oh, okay, it's not a canal. I'm sorry, it looked like a canal up.
No, what I did see there is because there's a subdivision that's under construction next door. This is gonna be Hidden Valley subdivision. I did see that they elevated all this area high enough to where you don't see a canal here. I didn't see a canal. It looks
Okay,
like
that's-
right. It looked like one, and that was my concern because I know that subdivision is right next to it, and the easement is only 30 feet. So, I mean, it doesn't look like it's a problem then.
no, sir.
And what about the other side on the drain? How's the right of way in that area? On the drain area, to your right?
So it's actually narrow, but it varies. Let me show you.
That one.
Yes,
That's
let me show
the-
you. I'm gonna turn on another layer so you can see how the right of way looks. It looks like there's this little island. There's a property here that is owned by someone else. This is a public road that was recorded in the Socorro Grant Survey, but nobody uses this road, so it became part of this property. Right away, as you can see, it's real smooth. And that's the reason why they're dedicating this additional area to smooth out the curve and align the existing asphalt. The amount of right of way that you have on the other side is probably about 45 feet, more or less. It varies. It looks, this is part of the irrigation property, or the water improvement district property, I'm sorry. And this is how the property was subdivided in the Socorro Grant Survey. So they're only including in this plat the area that belongs to Mr. Carrasco, which is the area that is outlined in the yellow line.
That, so that access easement, that 30-foot, what is that? What is that for? Is that for the neighbor in the back?
The one on the left, yes, it's for the neighbor in the back.
Okay,
As you can see, the dirt road goes all the way to the back. This is where they come into.
okay,
And according to Mr. Carrasco, they have absolutely no plans on vacating this easement. It's actually a perpetual easement that's already recorded
right,
for the use of the neighbors.
okay. So are we opening this to a public comment?
No, sir, this is only a plat approval.
Okay.
It's not a public hearing.
Okay, good, good. All right.
Just
I
keep
did
in
have
mind
a
before you
question,
do
Mr.
vote that there
Terrazas.
is a lady
In
that signed up to
conversations
speak.
with the landowner, they mentioned that it's gonna be for one of their kids. Would it have been the same price or cheaper, or would it have been more expensive had they just asked to change it from agricultural to residential? And I mean, in this request, or why would they do it in two sections or in two different movements? Does that make sense?
Yes, the reason is because they're not planning on changing the zoning of the property. Their plan, according to the owner, is to provide, in other words, the owner, Mr. Carrasco, wants to keep all this land for himself. And then in the future, he wants to give this away to his children. He didn't mention anything about a zoning change. We don't know if the land use will continue the same once they sell the property or give it away, or whatever they're gonna do with this, with lot 2. We don't know if in the future they might come back and ask for a zoning change. At this moment, the only conversation we had with him is just to subdivide. I don't know, did that answer your question, Mr. Cisneros?
It does. It does. Just looking at the area, there's huge amounts of development north and south of North Loop. So, I mean, in my mind, not to take the
You joined in?
not to just take their word for it, or not to not take their word for it. I mean, that whole location would be great for residential development as well. I guess the worrisome part is what happens to the rest of that when they continue to development. Does that get landlocked? I mean,
No, that's something that once, let's say, for example, if Mr. Carrasco wants to sell the property, and then a developer buys the whole thing,
mhm.
what we do is we'll look at of course, the preliminary plat, make sure that there is access to whatever is going to be in the back, however they want to subdivide it. At this point, I don't think he mentioned any intention of selling his land to getting it developed. He did mention that they might continue to use it for agricultural purposes at the moment. We're not sure what plans he has for the future, in other words.
Mhm.
Also, Mr. Carrasco is on the line. If you have any questions for the owner.
And also keep in mind, Miriam Cruz also signed up to speak on this item before you vote on it. Mr. Carrasco, is there anything you would like to add to the comment? Do you have any questions for him?
No, no. I'm currently building my house in the lot number 1. I'm currently working with Texas A&M to work with the grant that they currently have to plant, make it a depending what the soil sample comes back. That's the type of crop or plants that I'll be using that land for. But I guess in the next, in the future, if one of my child needs that piece of land, then that's kind of my, I want it to be available for them. But for currently right now, the whole property will be used for agriculture.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Cruz, would you like to speak? Miriam, can you hear me?
I'm here.
Oh, go
Is it
ahead,
my-
ma'am.
Yep. Was there a motion already put in place?
No,
What
ma'am,
is
not
the
yet.
one? Is there? Oh. Well, first I want to tell Mr. Carrasco, I hope you can hear me, that I appreciate, I think I know the grant that you're talking about. And so I appreciate your work in agriculture, and from someone who has lived here in Socorro. I appreciate all of the crops that we continue to have, and I just, from one constituent to another, I hope that you continue to keep those crops alive. I actually just had a question, and probably one of the commissioners or Mr. Terrazas can answer this to me. So some of my other questions were answered through the commissioner's questions. I just wanted to confirm that in the land that's zoned as agriculture, there is one residence that is allowed to be built. Is that right? Am I understanding that right? Which is why he's thinking of building a home on the property. It would be allowed because under agriculture you can have sort of like a farm style home within the property. That's my only question.
All righty, ma'am. Thank you.
Is that land is gonna be added to the city of Socorro, or gonna stay out of the city of Socorro?
Mr. La Fuente, yes, this land is inside the city limit. And let me show you I don't know, can you see the purple line here at the bottom?
Yes.
This is where the city of Socorro ends.
Okay,
From here down, this area, this is county. From
Okay.
here, from this line up, this is the city of Socorro.
all right.
And currently the zoning regulations for A1, this property is classified A1. They do allow a construction of a single family residence inside this type of land. However, because it's still being used for agriculture purposes, they gotta comply with other restrictions. For example, elevate the home building pad above the flood level or the irrigation level. And that's what they did. They are building the house according to all the codes. They are allowed to have a house inside this property.
Okay.
Do you have any other questions?
I have a question. Under the Anderson Road right now in front of this property that we're looking at, it has a 60-foot right of way. So Anderson Road continues on and butts into North Loop. And then on the other side of North Loop, there's a Rancho Mirabal subdivision is there. And so Rancho Mirabal has a 45-foot right of way on the subdivision side. And then on the adjacent owners, they have another 45-foot right of way. So that would be a total of a 90-foot right of way for a future road that could, in theory, connect I-10 to Alameda. So I'm thinking, how is that going to be addressed in the future? If what we're looking at right now, there's a 60-foot right of way on Anderson, and then the subdivision on the other side of North Loop has a 90-foot right of way.
So that is a good observation. The only problem is that we don't know exactly where there is a potential roadway that's going to extend from I-10 to somewhere in Socorro Road. The problem is that we don't know exactly where it's going to fall through, whether it's going to go straight or if it's going to veer off a little bit. We don't know exactly the location of the roadway. For that reason, we're considering the dedication of this right of way that they're doing acceptable at the moment. In the future, if we need the additional right of way, it will probably come from one of the neighbors or somewhere. We don't know exactly where the roadway is going to line up. Something we don't know.
And so he's dedicating, how much is his, how wide is his dedication? 30 feet? Or no, it's not. I can't tell. Because it says 60-foot overall, but his part, how much is he dedicating? How wide is it?
He's dedicating about 15 feet.
About 15 feet?
Yes.
So Anderson Road, I guess, is currently 45 feet. And so he's dedicating an additional 15 feet.
Yes, sir.
And then right there on the lower left-hand corner, you see where they subdivided a bunch of lots. It says Lot 1. And so that's already been approved. That's being developed right now. So that dedication for that widening of Anderson butts into the backside of Lot 1.
Yes, that's correct. This subdivision was approved about 10 years ago. This is part of Hidden Valley subdivision, the one that's under construction. In the future, if the city has any plans to extend the roadway and additional right-of-way is needed, then that's when, unfortunately, we would have to come back and go after a portion of this lot or the whole thing. And if it's necessary, It might also affect some additional feet from this property, but like I said, at this point, we don't know exactly the alignment of the roadway. So we're not sure if this is even gonna be a good idea at the moment. This is just what the owner is proposing. And you're right, there's a misalignment here, but we don't know exactly if this is gonna work in the future.
That's what my concern. If in the future there's gonna be an arterial road to going up to the freeway and to the Alameda, you don't think that it's time to make uh, uh, um, some drawings to increase that area as a future road?
It may be a good idea, but it may also not be a good idea. And the reason is because since we don't know exactly, because there's still several studies that need to be made. One of them would be the environmental study. We don't know if it's even feasible to run a roadway through here or a major highway. So I'm gonna show you something real quick. I'm gonna turn on this layer again where you can see Hidden Valley. As you can see the way it's laid out. When this subdivision was approved, there was no consideration for roadways either coming this way or for the expansion of North Loop. So obviously there's still some research or analysis or studies that need to be done to see if it's feasible. And the reason I'm saying is it may not be a good idea is because we ran into a situation where the city acquires right away for a future project, and then we don't know if it's going to happen. Something that it's not even guaranteed. For that reason, at the moment, this is what we consider the best option at the moment. Until other studies are made, then we can tell you for sure that yes, we're going to need additional right of way, or if it's feasible or not. But because we don't have a design or a plan showing where the roadway is going to be exactly, we don't know if this is even feasible at the moment.
So that piece of that load, where is the exit to? Where's gonna be the exit of this subdivision?
This one?
To the North Loop?
No, this Anderson, this is going to be the frontage is along Anderson Road.
The Anderson is connected to the North Loop, right?
Yes, sir.
To the west.
Yes.
Okay. So any other, well, I just want to point something out that we don't have, at least I couldn't find it online in the zoning ordinance. We don't have a category for A1. So we
No, there's no category for A1.
Right.
Everything is regulated by Ordinance 76, Amendment 1A, Section 8.
ordinance 76 on for A1.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure because if we're looking for any kind of I guess regulation or guidance on agriculture, it's definitely not on the on chapter 46 of the zoning. So
Correct. It's not codified. That's correct.
okay, all right. I just want to point that out. Anything? Any other questions? No. Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Have a motion made by Mr. Daniel Lopez to approve. Does anybody second it?
I had one more thing to add if there's no second.
Go ahead.
So it's not so much a question, but looking at the zoning map that's on the city website, I don't know if Mr. Carrasco and his family have taken into account. It's a great location because when you look at the map, you're far enough from Clint exit, and you're far enough from Horizon, and then what potentially could be another uh, exit created directly to the freeway. And with all those homes being created north and south of North Loop, it looks like a very natural, obvious, I don't want to say obvious, but it looks like a very natural traffic procession where those properties can be very valuable in the future to be turned into commercial properties. So I guess the comment would be is it might be very wise to not that you have to give the city the easement, but build that easement naturally so that in the event you want to develop that commercially in the future or sell that very expensively in the future, you don't have to destroy anything or anything like that. So, but no, looks good. Does that sound right, Mr. Terrazas? Does that sound
Yes, yes, sir.
okay? Thank you.
Does
And
anybody
I'll I'll second Mr. Lopez's motion.
Okay, I got a motion by Mr. Daniel Lopez to approve, seconded by Mr. Enrique Cisneros. Mr. David Estrada,
Yes.
Mr. Arturo Lafuente,
Stay.
abstain. Okay. Mr. Daniel Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Andrew Arroyos, your mic is muted. Go ahead, Mr. Arroyos.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to apologize because I came in a little bit late to the meeting. Had a little bit of trouble with our internet connection and stuff, but I think I came in a little bit too late, so I'd like to abstain.
Okay, no problem. Mr. Enrique Cisneros.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Motion carried with 3 commissioners yes, 2 abstain. Item number 4B. This is also a plat approval. Consider and take action on the preliminary plat approval for Baba Section 1 subdivision, being a portion of the OA Danielson Survey number 316 in El Paso County, Texas.
So this property, this is also this is a minor plat. Baba subdivision is at the intersection of the Nuevo Hueco Chanks Road and I-10. This property is a portion of Tract 1B. This is part of OA Danielson Survey number 316. It's outside the city limit. Property is inside the Socorro's 2-mile ETJ. This is what you see outlined in green. This is the entire Tract 1B. What they're trying to subdivide is the area that you see here in yellow. This is what's going to be developed. This property with this, and this is only the preliminary plat, what they brought to us. What they're proposing is for lot 1. Let me show you the preliminary plat first. So this is the entire tract 1B. This is the preliminary plat that was brought to us. This is the area that's going to be developed. According to this file, lot 1 will have 284,882 square feet. That's about 6.5 acres. Lot 2 will have 101,930 square feet. That's about 2.3 acres. Lot 3 will have 102,670 square feet. It's about 2.3 acres. And then they're also going to include a ponding area to collect storm water runoff from this roadway that is going to be dedicated for public, for their, I'm sorry. This is going to be a roadway that's going to be dedicated for the use of their properties. That way you don't have any lots that are landlocked. The total area of this plat is gonna be 649,871 square feet. It's about 14.9 acres. According to the flood insurance rate maps, this property is in Zone X. So it's not in a flood zone, but what you see on the north, there's an arroyo that crosses. This is a flood zone that crosses over track 1B, but it's not part of the area that's going to be developed. The proposed plat will generate 3 commercial lots. The Planning and Zoning Department recommends approval to allow the applicant to record or to start this development as shown. The city of Socorro already received the improvement plans. They're currently being reviewed by the consultant. There is also a minor arroyo that is crossing the land unregulated, but once they start the improvements, they're gonna go ahead and allow the flow to continue so that the water runoff is undisturbed. Let me show you a better picture here. You can see it's a minor arroyo that crosses through the land. And this is water that's coming from some culverts that are crossing under I-10. This is how they're proposing to subdivide the land. There is no additional right-of-way required for this project, and there is no additional extension of utilities required for this project. However, they are going to provide all that infrastructure for the properties that are on the uppermost corner.
If you can
Do you
all
have any
give me a,
questions?
Job,
Yeah,
if you
on
can all,
the,
hold on, before you start talking, I believe somebody else joined us by phone. May I ask who it is at the moment, if you can hear me?
Yes, this is David Ballard, and I'm with Baba. I represent Baba.
Okay, no problem, sir. Thank you. Go ahead, Job.
Okay, no, I was asking if you had any questions about this.
Yeah, I have a question on, so right here on the map that you're showing, it's actually farther out towards the, towards Owego tanks. Is that right?
That's correct. This roadway that you see here at the bottom, this is the Nuevo Hueco Tanks Road. This is not currently the condition that it's in. It's already been widened and it's been improved,
Right.
but this is part of the new Hueco Tanks Road.
But the property line, at least on the plat, it shows it farther out towards Waco tanks. I just want to make sure, like that arroyo is quite a ways out from the actual property line and not too close. Just because it looks different on the plat than on the map that you're showing right now. And so
Yeah, so the lines that you see here on the screen, they're not accurate, especially the ones in the middle. I just threw them in there to give you a better idea of how they're trying to develop this area. Lines that you see here, they're not accurate. I would go off of the survey instead of this. These lines, this polygon that you see here outlined in green, it came directly from our GIS file. Let me see, I don't know, let me try to share this with you. So this is our GIS software where we have all the CAD properties. And the way this land is subdivided, you can see that there's this.
that extra piece, right? That's on the
Yes.
plat.
Yeah, so the way you see the lines here, let me put them in a darker color so you can see them better. Oops, I guess that's not better, hold on. So the way these lines are, well, I guess that didn't work either. So the way these properties are outlined right here, this area right here in the middle belongs to TxDOT, and this is part of the intersection of the I-10. Track 1B of the Danielson survey starts from this line, from this point up, and this is the entire track 1B. I don't know if that clear. Did that answer your question, Mr. Lopez?
Uh, you're saying that line or the one that's closer to Waco Tanks?
Yes, no, this line is,
Right, that's
I
the one.
don't know what that is. This is probably part of the old survey, but actually, this is actually the property line, the one you see here, the
Well,
one I'm pointing at.
on the plat on the attachment that you have, that you sent to us from Trey,
Okay,
it actually includes that other section that you know, it calls what you pointed out, that line, it calls it original track line, but the property line is actually farther out. You see that?
oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I apologize.
I just want to clarify that because it is closer to Nuevo Waco Tanks Road than what it shows it on that Google, or I'm sorry, not the Google, the GIS or the other
Yes,
one.
there is a note right here. It says where the original track line is. I'm guessing that's what it's representing. I need to obviously take a closer look and see what this represents, but
That's
this is
fine.
the,
So
this is all
my question is, so right now, I mean, I know it's a plat, but are we gonna have any, this falls under is this like an ETJ?
yes,
Okay,
yes. And we did check with the county and we showed them this minor plat. And it seems like they agree with the way they're proposing it because it's gonna be used for commercial purposes. The only thing that they're concerned about is that they comply with provisions under the city of Socorro. And I was looking at the improvement plans and everything seems to check out. Everything looks okay.
so as far as, so I'm guessing these are gonna be commercial.
Correct.
So
Yes.
if that happens, so as far as setbacks and everything, I don't know if you looked into that, but it doesn't look like it's gonna be an issue with track number 3. I'm just saying, because that's the smallest one. You've got that 35-foot utility easement in the back, so you're already pushing the building forward away from the back property line towards the front. And, you know, I'm guessing they're gonna have parking and everything, but, so I don't know if you looked at that. But I just want to make sure that, you know, zoning, if we're gonna do zoning, that it's enough area for them to develop, and it looks like it is. I just want to see if you looked into that.
So one of the things that the city of Socorro does not regulate in the ETJ is zoning. That's up to the county, how they handle those setbacks or land use. Something that the city does not regulate in the ETJ. The only authority the city has over any development in the ETJ would be platting, which is in this case what we're presenting to you.
Okay, so just a plat. Okay,
Yes.
that's fine. That's yeah. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yes, sir.
I do have a question. Mr. Terrazas,
Yes, sir.
once this development be approved, how they gonna conduct the swell that is coming under the freeway? Is passing through the first and second load.
So the way they're showing this roadway, looks like it was designed wide enough for whatever traffic is going to be flowing through it.
But other one is coming from in between the two lines along the freeway. There's another swallow.
This one over here?
No, the other one, right
in the bottom.
I guess southeast corner on the freeway, somewhere right there.
So the only roadways that they're proposing here is going to be in the shape of an L.
Yeah, on the
this is going to be the roadway. Everything else here, we don't know what they're going to put on this property, or we don't know what kind of buildings are going to be on any of them.
On the other drawing shows the swell and right on the coming out from the freeway, and it's passing through the two lots. No, other one. The one that was first?
The one with the yellow line, the one with the yellow outline, the satellite view.
Yes.
This one?
Yes, that one. The right on the corner where the diagonal is coming out from the freeway. You see?
Yes, let me clarify this again. Obviously, this is not accurate. These lines, I just threw them in there. I did them myself just to show you the concept of how it's going to be subdivided. These lines are not accurate.
Yeah,
Of course, this is not 60 feet wide.
No.
In there.
No. The one that is next to the freeway, there's underneath the piping that the water is coming under.
This one here?
From the
Over I'm sorry, over the diagonal corner that's chopped off on the corner that's closest to the intersection.
This one here?
above. Right. No.
Where the canal is.
Right there.
Oh, well, this is what they're gonna do. Let me just draw a temporary line right here. What you see here on the screen, I don't know if you can see it. It's actually a culvert where there's an arroyo that flows that's coming from the north of the I-10.
Uh-huh.
So what's gonna happen here is this arroyo is gonna be flowing underground, something like this. Then they're gonna let me put a different color so you can distinguish.
Yeah, I noticed that. But that's gonna pass under the land.
It's gonna be underground.
The ground.
It's gonna be underground. It's gonna be under pipes.
Yeah, because
underground, so that the arroyo is not interrupted. If they block these culverts, then it's gonna become dangerous.
Yeah, sometimes when the water rains hard, down low, the water is too much.
Yes,
And
but there's we can't impede the natural path of rainwater.
No.
The only thing we can do is try to improve it to prevent any continuous damage to the property. As you can see, well, there's erosion here. This is going to be repaired, and the damage will probably happen somewhere else. But that's something that I guess we would have to figure out once the land starts getting developed as we go. This is a natural flow. There's no way we can't impede it.
I know, but once if this development is approved, we like to put like suggestion to get that with some structure like little canal or little piping underneath and enough to the flow going down.
Yes, the engineers provided us some improvement plans, how they're gonna fix the issue. The plans are engineered. We did verify that they were designed by a professional engineer.
Okay.
They did submit the complete set, in other words, and we sent them to the city's consultant for review to make sure that those culverts or structures that are going to be underground have the capacity for the flow that is coming from that arroyo.
Yeah.
So we are looking into the information that was provided to us to make sure that it's going to be safe for this development.
It's not a good idea to consult with the city of El Paso or the county to how they think to get the cause of that.
No, sir. The city of Socorro has a consultant firm who does the engineering, and they review the plans that are submitted to the city from engineers. They review them and they provide comments to us, and then we forward them to their engineers for them to implement any corrections or whatever their findings are. We send them to their engineers. But the city does have a consultant for that.
Once to the P engineer get development and that. Also, they need to do something in that as well, okay? Plus, I don't know, restriction or opinion or comments or.
Yes, yes, they're gonna give us comments.
Okay.
I had some questions, Mr. Terrazas. Has the owners, Baba LP, have they mentioned what they're thinking of building on there? And then two, if they have, when do they foresee beginning and having that completed? And the third question would be, do they own any more properties close to that region, or is this kind of their holding in that area?
So, Mr. Cisneros, I don't have an answer to any of your questions, but we do have the representative from Baba on the line. You can ask him directly, and he might be able to provide you with those answers. I'm not sure. Mr.
I'm happy to address that for you if you'd like.
Yes, sir, please do.
As far as property holdings, we have additional property holdings. When you're moving back to the west from this property towards Texas Tech, we own the frontage back to Texas Tech. Once you move to the east and you cross Old Waco Tanks, we also own a 10-acre piece on that corner as well. We are also the contract owners with the state of Texas for the 4,300 acres that's being developed north of the freeway on East Lake all the way up to Horizon City. We sold a lot of the commercial property there to River Oaks and are in the process of doing some other industrial deals in that same area. Does that address your question? I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that. The other question was, do you know what is going to be built there, when it'll start, and if you do know when it'll start and when it'll be completed?
Actually, construction is scheduled to start. We're hoping to get the plat finalized and finished so that we can close with the buyers by August, September. At that point, we'd be ready to start construction, and we would anticipate having the groundwork done by early 2021. I think we're looking for approvals for in February, late February. We would anticipate, obviously, that the other people that are buying the property will start their construction as soon as the land development side is done, and it'll take approximately 12 months. So it should be early 2022 when the facilities are actually in place.
And I know you haven't finalized the deal, but what do you think is going to be on there, if you want to mention that?
Yeah, unfortunately, the piece closest to the freeway, we're under a strict confidentiality agreement with the group, but it is a new group that's not in El Paso, so we're actually bringing in some new blood to the area. The two parcels in the back is an operator that's already in El Paso and would be in the hotel business.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I did have one more question for Mr. Terrazas. I was looking at the fees that the previous that we had previously on the plat that we were looking at previously, and this one. Why the difference in the fees?
I'm not sure what you're talking about. Is it for the application fee or what is it? Sorry, you're muted, Mr. Cisneros.
So on the previous,
Are you talking about the one we just presented earlier, Mr. Carrasco's?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So the difference in the fees is because according to the fee schedule, it has to be based on the amount of lots they're going to be creating. Because Mr. Carrasco was only doing a lot split, they're only creating 2 lots versus 4. That's the difference in the fees.
Okay.
They're calculated differently according to the fee schedule.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Also, keep in mind, Miriam Cruz also wanted to speak on this item.
Okay, so no, there's no more questions? So-
No, but remember, Miriam Cruz wanted to
Right,
speak on
right.
this
No,
item.
from, I'm sorry, I mean from the commissioners.
Oh,
Okay, so if there isn't, then yeah, we can go ahead and,
go ahead, Miriam, if you can hear me. Go ahead, ma'am.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I had a couple of questions, and this is probably more for Mr. Terrazas, if you can help me understand. I believe that this is in the area above an item that we had on the previous meeting, where they were talking about a school. If not, it's kind of close by. I mean, I know it's along the street. But my question pertains obviously to this item, and how does the city of Socorro take into consideration the flood impact of the surrounding area, so not just of the actual property that's being talked about on the item? Does it take into consideration the flooding potential in the surrounding area? And if so, how? And the reason I ask that is because down the street on Gateway, near where it used to be Magic Landing, there are some properties that never used to get flooded, and now, I mean, there's fences hanging onto the fence. There's no ground under them anymore, because of the different impacts of rain and construction in the surrounding area, and then obviously just the changes in rain pattern, that probably cause the water to go different ways. And so I understand that you've talked about the water, not interrupting the water flow, but I'm curious to know how the city takes into consideration the surrounding area. And I have other comments, but that's the only one I think that comes to my head right now, and I think my time's up.
You still got time, ma'am. You still got about a minute.
Oh, I thought I had a minute and a half. Is that 3 minutes?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, let me see here.
Okay. Miriam, never mind. I've just been informed you do have 1 minute because it is through the internet and phone. Sorry.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's okay.
Alrighty. Thank you, ma'am. Go ahead, Commissioner.
Oh, I just remembered.
okay, so Mr. Terrazas, do you have, is there anything else?
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought Miriam was still
No, sir. She's finished.
asking questions. I'm sorry. Okay. So to answer her questions, the way we do this is it's very complicated to try to explain how the structures are engineered, of course, obviously. First thing we look into is we gotta make sure that we don't interrupt the flow of stormwater. There has to be a hydraulic analysis to make sure that the structures that are designed are gonna have the capacity for the flow. First, we have to determine how much water is coming from this arroyo, and then that the structures that are gonna be put in place are gonna have the strength to support the loads. In this case, because there's already a natural arroyo, you're not really creating any new negative impacts to the surrounding area. This is already a pre-existing condition. The only thing they're doing is improving the area so that the water is gonna flow in a controlled manner to the same location where it's already flowing naturally. So I don't know if that answers your questions. Do you have any other questions? It looks like everybody's muted. I don't know if anybody else has any questions.
No, so I just want to point out that, I mean, as far as any water that's from the site doesn't really impact any of the surroundings because of the ponding area. I mean, it's all going to drain to the ponding area, right? So,
Correct. The
So-
water, whatever falls within their property will be contained with their ponding area.
So there's actually gonna be less water flow towards the bottom because they're gonna contain that area already, right?
potentially,
Correct. Well, whatever pertains to the area that's gonna be improved, this pond is already designed to have the capacity for this watershed.
Right, right. So that bottom section is gonna receive actually less water than what it does right now.
Yes, correct. The only one that is not gonna be contained in the pond, of course, is gonna be the natural arroyos that are flowing through the property, including the one on the north. This is outside the scope of this development.
right? Okay. Okay, any other questions or comments?
No.
No.
I'd like to make a motion to approve based on staff's recommendations.
I second.
We have a motion made by Mr. Enriquez Cisneros to approve with staff recommendations. Who seconded?
Andrew.
Mr. Andrew Arroyo is okay. Mr. David Estrada,
Yes.
Mr. Arturo Lafuente,
Yes.
Mr. Daniel Lopez,
Yes,
Mr. Andrew Arroyos,
Yes.
and Mr. Enriquez Cisneros.
Yes, sir.
Okay, motion carried. All commissioners present in favor. Item number 5. This is a planning and zoning commissioners report.
I've got nothing to report unless somebody else does.
I don't
Okay.
have anything here.
No problem. Nothing to report. Item number 6, planning and zoning department report.
So in the last meeting, we had, it was brought up to our attention about I'm gonna share my screen one more time.
The connection of the development.
Yes. So there is a subdivision that's under construction, Leonora Estates. It was brought to our attention that there's 2 points of egress from this subdivision.
Yes.
We did speak to TxDOT. I spoke to them personally, and it seems like what they explained to me is that the connections that are under construction right now, they meet their standards. They don't have any problems with them connecting to the existing asphalt until there's additional right-of-way that was dedicated for the future expansion of North Loop. However, TxDOT is not interested in acquiring this property at the moment until they start working on the design of the expansion of North Loop. So that's the reason why they allowed this subdivision to connect to North Loop. According to their standards, everything seems okay. I was at the subdivision earlier because I did notice that the driveways have already been paved. And I was there for a while. I was looking at traffic, and I'm gonna tell you right now that the way cars turn into this subdivision, it doesn't seem as dangerous as we thought it was gonna be before, just because there's a curve. It looks like there's plenty of visibility as you're approaching the curve. I was there for most of the day, and I noticed I didn't see an issue. So I kind of agree with TxDOT. It does look like it's going to be a safe point of ingress egress. And in the meantime, we are working with them to still try to transfer the property ownership to TxDOT for the future expansion of North Loop. But at the moment, there's still several things that need to be looked into. TxDOT is getting with their right-of-way people to start the process of negotiation. once they transfer the additional right-of-way that was dedicated to the city of Socorro, then they're gonna come back and do a different design. They're gonna create this turning lane to make it even safer for the residents that are gonna be turning into the subdivision. In the meantime, the city of Socorro will be maintaining all this right-of-way that was dedicated by this plat. I don't know if you have any
Yeah.
other questions about this development, but that was what
You mean a
was.
deceleration lane? I'm sorry.
It's not really a deceleration lane, it's more of a turning lane. So you're gonna have like this little area here. I don't know if you're familiar with the other subdivision here, Sunset Valley.
Yes, yes.
They
There's-
did this turning lane for traffic that is coming from I guess from the east side going west. There's a turning lane, and then they deviated this lane
To turn,
a little further into the city's right of way, because this is also city's right of way here, to accommodate the turning lane. That's exactly the same thing they're gonna do on the other subdivision. They're gonna create one here and one on the other side. That's what the engineer had shown, or the drawings that the engineer provided us is showing. But in the meantime, the connections as they are acceptable according to TxDOT and according to our observations. We didn't find an issue with them.
I'd like to comment on that.
Sure.
Or, well, I have a question first. When did you say the turning lane would be started?
That would happen according to TxDOT as soon as the additional right-of-way is transferred to TxDOT.
And when will that be?
We don't know. They couldn't give me an exact time or the process that we have to go through, because they have to get with another department from their agency. We don't know exactly what the process is at this time, or we don't know how long it's going to take to transfer the property ownership to state.
So it could be well after the subdivision has been completed. I mean, several years down the line, or it could be 6 months from now. We don't know.
Yes, we don't know at the moment. Yes, sir.
Okay, the other thing I'd like to comment is that, and I appreciate you going out there and spending some time out there, but I want to remind everybody that there's very little traffic down this road right now because schools are shut down and a lot of people are working from home. And the other part of it is that there aren't any residents living in the subdivision yet. There's maybe about 20 homes under construction, so we have construction crews going out there. But during normal traffic hours, when schools are up and running and people are going to and from work, I want to make a note, for the record, this is a very dangerous curve in my opinion. And once people are living there and once everything's opened up, there's, I just, I don't agree with the opinion that it's safe right now, or that TxDOT is saying that we're good. I think something should be done there now before an accident happens and, loss of life or anything like that. So I just want to make that.
Yes, the other thing that TxDOT mentioned is they are concerned about a head wall. There's a ladder that crosses under North Loop. Another reason they didn't want to approve the turning lane at this time or at this moment is because once they do the turning lane, of course, that's gonna entail restriping of North Loop.
wait up.
By doing that, one of the lanes is gonna be a little bit closer to the head walls. That's the reason why they thought it was safer to leave it the way it is for now. Until they redesign North Loop and they do the widening and everything, the head walls are gonna be moved further to a safer location. And that's all I have to report.
Thank you, Job. Item number 7, excuse absent commission members.
I make a motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion made by Mr. Andrew Arroyos. Who seconded?
I'll second it.
Mr. Enrique Cisneros?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. David Estrada?
Yes.
Mr. Arturo Lafuente?
Yes.
Mr. Daniel Lopez?
Yes.
Mr. Andrew Arroyos?
Yes.
Mr. Enrique Cisneros?
Yes, sir.
Okay, motion carried. All commissioners in favor. Item number 8, consider and take action on adjournment.
There being no further business to come before the commission, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Meeting adjourns at 6:47 p.m. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night, everybody.
Right.
Thank you too.